I just want to celebrate another game we're winning. I just want to celebrate. Sens win 6-4 over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Goal by goal, hockey's like a thrill ride. Whoever goes ahead must go behind. Hockey ain't a merry-go-round. It's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster. Boy, oh boy, was it ever a roller coaster last night. Lead changes, lots of scoring, goal streaks. The game had it all. And it appears over the last 5 games, the Sens want to bring back the 1980s offensive hockey. 5 games, 21 goals for, 25 goals against. That's 46 goals in the last 5 games. Sens games are averaging about 9 goals a game right now. The NHL average is just over 6. That means the Sens are getting about 3 goals a game more than the NHL average. Over the last 5 games, that's an extra 15 goals in Sens games. Not exactly fun watching Ottawa play in their own end, but hey, goals are supposed to be exciting. The Sens have 5 points in that stretch, so it's not all bad. Of course, as always, we'll start with lineup changes. One thing I typically don't do is mention the other team, but I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one of the players returning for the Lightning last night. After Brady Tkachuk returned for the Sens against the Vegas Golden Knights on Thursday, the Lightning got a key player of their own to return against the Sens, as Victor Hedman made his return after a 7-game absence. On the Sens side of things, Max McCormick drew in for Nick Paul. Craig Anderson got the start and goal, and the rest of the lineup stayed the same. With the lineup set, we can get to hockey. The Sens, they wasted little time getting down to hockey, as they got the game's opening goal just a few minutes in. White shot gets blocked, Duchesne picks up the rebound and spins and races to the far side of the net. He outraces Vasilevsky, tucks the puck in on the wraparound, and the Sens lead 1-0. Great start, boys! Now, start firing more than one shot on goal every 5 minutes, would ya? Just over 2 minutes later, the Sens still only have 1 shot. Until Cody Ceci fires a shot towards the net. It gets stopped. Bobby Ryan races, outbeats his man to the rebound, and tucks in the easy empty net goal to give the Sens a 2-0 lead. Real credit to Bobby on this play. When Ceci took his shot, he and Ryan were standing basically beside each other. In the time it took Ceci's shot to get to the net and then be stopped, Ryan outraced 2 Lightning players, stole the puck off Slater Cuckoo, who was struggling to get the puck, and tucked it in. It was really nice to see him working really hard to get that puck at the front of the net. Even when he got the puck, he still had to work to put it in, as he scored from his knees while he was falling to his stomach. How about that effort? Let's go, Bobby! Big time goal! And let's go, boys! Things just can't go right for the Sens, though. Oh no. Just over a minute and a half after Bobby Ryan made it 2-0, the hockey gods closed the score. Matthew Joseph skates around the Sens goal, and when he gets to the top of the circle at the half wall, spins and fires a shot towards the net. It bounces off the skate of Thomas Chabot, goes through the legs of Craig Anderson, and cuts the Sens lead to 2-1. How could this happen to us? Man, what a disappointing way to let the Lightning back in the game. Yes, Joseph was allowed to skate behind the net untouched, but the truth is, you're not going to score very often from behind the net. So, give him that space, which the Sens did. When he got to the top of the circle, Bodker was right there, which is what forced Joseph to turn around and shoot the puck. And the Sens had 2 players in front of the net, covering their guys. It just was a bad bounce that ended up in their net. For a change, the defense was actually really good on the play. Oh well. Tough breaks happen. Get back on the wagon, boys. You've still got the lead. You've still got plenty of reasons to feel good about yourselves. The Sens do that, at least well enough, as they outshoot the Lightning 13-11 in the period and take a 2-1 lead into the first intermission. But early in the second period, Ottawa's propensity for disaster comes through again. Christian Jaros was sent to the box for tripping just 22 seconds into period 2. 17 seconds after that, Victor Hedman picks up the puck behind his own net, skates through the entire Sens penalty kill, puts the puck 5-hole on Craig Anderson, and the game is now tied 2-2. Why? This penalty kill is trash! We can get on Marty Berrimont all we want, and with the penalty kill operating at 67.3%, we absolutely have a reason for it. But in my opinion, there's another coach who deserves equal responsibility for that goal. Yes, Guy Boucher is in an untenable position because of the Uber video. Everyone around the league is now well aware of Ottawa's penalty killing problems. And, if he makes a change, people will think it's because of that video. Having said that, Boucher needs to quietly do something behind the scenes about this penalty kill. And here's why. The goal itself came as a result of very, very, very poor neutral zone play. Aside from the penalty kill, which hasn't been very good since he got to Ottawa, what's the one thing Guy Boucher's teams are supposed to be very good at? Their play in the neutral zone. So how does a coach whose teams are supposed to have such good neutral zone play have such terrible neutral zone play on the penalty kill? Because obviously he isn't running it, but he needs to start influencing it. I don't know Marty Raymond, and not being in that dressing room, I don't know what's going on. But from the outside, here's what I see. With all due respect, it appears Mr. Raymond isn't a very good coach. When he ran the Sens power play, it wasn't very good. And now he's running their penalty kill, and it's awful. But aside from that, Raymond and Boucher have worked together for many, many years. Yet it seems despite having all that experience with Boucher, he hasn't been able to pick up anything about the neutral zone play, which might help his own neutral zone play on the penalty kill. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that I'm just overreacting, but that's what I see. So, Ottawa's neutral zone was awful, Hedman picked it apart, and the game is now tied 2-2 just over 30 seconds in to period 2. And once again, the Sens blew a 2-0 lead. Here we go again! And, sure enough, less than 9 minutes later, the Sens turn the puck over. Killorn sends the puck back to the blue line to Coburn. He sends a muffin towards the goal that seems to fool Craig Anderson and goes in bar down to give the Lightning a 3-2 lead. Eesh. The knuckle puck seemed to fool Andy. That's another tough break, and the truth is, there's not a lot Ottawa can change aside from turning the puck over. But once they did, they were in fine position defensively. And, with 5.5 minutes to play in the period, things go from bad to worse. Matthew Joseph fires his second of the night bar down, and the Lightning lead 4-2. Yep, sounds about right. Got his first NHL goal against the Sens last Sunday. So what does he do in this game? Gets his first 2-goal game. Doesn't seem to matter who it is. Everyone gets to have a good time against the Sens. The goal itself was a tough one. Joseph got the pass off a short feed from Killorn, who had the puck along the wall and was being hounded by Ryan Dzingel. That short pass from Killorn to Joseph was where things fell apart. The Sens, they seem to be playing a zone defense on the play. Joseph found a soft spot in that zone, just behind Duchesne and just ahead of Chabot and Ryan. He had just enough time to fire it by Anderson to give the Lightning a 4-2 lead. If it was a zone defense, the Sens were in pretty good position. But I have a real hard time understanding why they would be playing a zone. Just man up. It seems like a much better option than leaving soft spots in your defense. Either way, the Lightning take a 4-2 lead into the third period. After watching the Lightning score quickly in the second period, and then score 3 times, the Sens go into the intermission and give a quick laugh. Ha! We'll come out in the third, and we'll show you what a real comeback looks like. Just 50 seconds into the third period, Chabot's point shot gets stopped. Tkachuk goes hard to the net and keeps whacking away. Finally, a Lightning player accidentally knocks it into his own net on a clearing attempt, cutting the Lightning lead to 4-3. What a stud. 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points in 6 games, and he's always going hard to the net. Yes, it was a lucky break, but if the Sens don't go hard to the net, they don't create that luck. Also, a special shout out to Colin White on the play. I've mentioned this a number of times this season, but he's shown a real willingness to go to the net. He was right there with Brady on this one, but just wasn't given credit with the goal. While he wasn't given credit for that goal, his time would come. Less than 8 minutes later, the Sens to the power play. Bobby Ryan's shot gets tipped in front by Tkachuk, and then tipped right in front by Colin White, and the Sens are tied! Remember when I said his time will come? Well, there it is. Brady and White both show willingness to stand in front of the net, both get a goal, and both get their stick on this play. If these two keep this up in the future, man oh man, that's going to be fun to watch. As long as it's in an Ottawa uniform. How many goalies are going to stop a double tip with potentially a double screen? Vasilevsky couldn't on this one, and with just over 10 minutes to play, the game is tied, and the Sens have the momentum. Well, show me those hands, Ryan Dzingel. Every week this guy shows me those hands are improving. Dzingel takes a Matt Duchesne pass, blows down the wing, and with Vasilevsky cheating, roofs it over his shoulder to put the Sens in front, 5-4. Just an incredible shot, who, despite me calling into question his hands all of last season and at the early part of this season, got his 8th of the year to lead the Sens in scoring. I stand corrected. The Sens continue the onslaught, and after Matt Duchesne is robbed by the stick of Ryan McDonough and Mark Stone misses the net, It feels like the Lightning are about to tie the game. But a Victor Hedman tripping penalty gave the Sens a last-minute power play. Mark Stone fires a wrister by Vasilevsky on the power play, and the Sens take an insurmountable 6-4 lead. Thank goodness! The final 12 seconds run off the clock, and the comeback is complete. Sens win 6-4! Like I mentioned off the top, what a roller coaster. After a solid start, a bad bounce, and an ugly second period, things looked like they were going to fall apart. I don't know what happened in the intermission. I would assume Guy Boucher might have read them the riot act, but holy man, what a third period. Ottawa outscored Tampa Bay 4-0 in the third period to complete the comeback. But, in my opinion, even more impressive than the 4-goal third was the way they played in that period. Ottawa outshot the Lightning in period 3, 13-5. Yes, you heard that right. The Sens gave up just 5 third period shots on goal. How many times this season have I been able to say that? With the Sens mounting a comeback, and after totally squandering momentum in the second period and playing against the NHL's top team, for them to play like that in the third period, well done. I'm very impressed. Having said that, please bring that effort more often. You keep playing like that, and you're a playoff team. Unfortunately, that's their issue. They can't bring that more often. Now, the good news. There were many good things that happened last night. The power play was huge, finishing the night 2 for 4 and scoring twice in the third period. The penalty kill was okay, aside from the Hedman goal, as they finished the night 2 for 3. The comeback in the third? That was a positive as well. But I'm going to take a different route today, and one I haven't taken a whole lot this season. Instead of a moment or series of moments, I'm going to look at a player today. Today's good news is Bobby Ryan. Yes, Colin White has been good this season, and so has Mark Stone, and Brady Tkachuk, and Thomas Chabot, but it seems kind of quietly flying under the radar has been Bobby. Ryan has been given a hard time by this fan base, and understandably so, given that he makes $7.5 million, and really has been unable to live up to the lofty standards that he had when he was traded for in 2013. But Ryan, he's actually a key reason why this team wins and loses. Go back to the playoff run a couple years ago, Bobby was incredible. And while he had an awful regular season that year, and basically just as bad a one last year, he's been really solid so far to start this year. In his last 2 seasons, where he missed a total of 40 games, he scored just 24 goals and 58 points. In just 17 games this year, he has 5 goals and 12 points. Broken down over the course of a full season, Bobby's on pace to score approximately 30 more points than he's averaged over the last 2 years. And in his last 4 games, he has 5 points. He looks engaged and healthy, and when he has those 2 things going for him, he can be a real important part of this team. Which brings me to Ottawa's bad news. A severe lack of depth. The Sens dressed just 11 forwards last night, which, broken down over the course of a full game, would be about 16 minutes per player, assuming the game was divided equally. Obviously, that's not going to happen, but the minutes were still way out of whack. Mark Stone played nearly 22.5 minutes, and Matt Duchene was just shy of 22. Add in Colin White, and the Sens had 3 forwards playing just over 62 minutes. To make up for that, the Sens had 4 players skate under the 16-minute average, as Max McCormick didn't make 11 minutes, Tom Pyatt didn't make 12, Pajärvi played just over 12, and Bodker played just over 13.5. Going back to the Vegas game, Nick Paul played in place of McCormick, and he only saw the ice for 5 minutes and 40 seconds. The blue line? It's the same. The Sens dressed 7 defensemen, but just 4 saw the ice for at least a quarter of the hockey game. In fact, with 7 defensemen dressed, the Sens blue liners should have saw just over 17 minutes each. In reality, just 3 of those players reached that mark. Cody Ceci played just over 24 minutes, Chabot was almost 22.5, and Lajoie was almost 22. The remaining 4 defensemen played a total of 51 minutes and 15 seconds. 4 defensemen couldn't even combine to play a full game. Boro led the charge at 16 minutes. DeMello played just over 14.5, Jarosz played just over 13, and Weidman barely saw 7.5 minutes. This kind of usage, it's fine right now, but it's going to bite this team in the behind later this season. The other place it will hurt is on back-to-backs. And guess what? Ottawa has one of those said back-to-backs today when they take on the Florida Panthers at 5 o'clock. While Ottawa comes into the game tired, so too do the Panthers, who picked up a 4-2 win over the New York Islanders last night. The game will be Ottawa's first against former sniper Mike Hoffman, who was traded to San Jose and then Florida in the offseason. The Panthers come into the contest having won 3 in a row and have begun turning things around after a start that saw them lose their first 4 games. The Panthers come into the contest with a 5-5-3 record, 4 points behind the Sens, but thanks to their European road trip, have 4 games in hand. Mike McKenna is expected to get the start in goal for the Sens, and the Panthers have plenty of offensive firepower, so the Sens will need to be on the same page and will need to play good team defense if they have any chance of winning. Please, no 9-2 loss. See ya later this evening.